Hey guys, it's Will here doing another Star Wars Black Series review. Don't you just know it? I've got a few more for you as well. I apologise if I seem a little bit demoralised. This is the fourth time I've tried to film this video. Getting pretty close to just lobbing everything and just not doing it, but I'll try anyway. Just to start off with, I got the normal release with this box. I prefer that. I'm not going to go much more into it. I'm going to include the packaging segment because you guys seem to like that. And yeah, it is what it is. I'm quickly just going to say that there's not a lot I can say about this figure that hasn't already been said. It's a near enough perfect figure. The definitive Darth Vader figure, I think. There are other ones, Mayfix, SH Figure Arts, Bandai Model Kit. They're all pretty good figures, but I think this one's actually the best you can get. So let's get right into the review. Yeah, let's do this. So first, let's look at the packaging. Now, like I said before, I prefer this packaging. I want to do something where I display all these boxes with the numbers and stuff in a row. So what you basically have is the name of the series up here. You have the nice picture here. This is a really cool image of Darth Vader. I'm sorry my light's shining on it. You have the name down here, a product code I'm assuming, and then the age 4+. On the side, like I showed you, you have the number, the name again, some stripy bit, and then another code. And then on the back you have like a read up in different languages. I'll read the one in English for you, but I'm not great at other languages, so I won't be doing them. I'll just read this quick for you anyway. Once a heroic Jedi Knight, Darth Vader was seduced by the dark side of the Force, became a Sith Lord, and led the Empire's eradication of the Jedi Order. He remained in service of the Emperor for many decades, enforcing his master's will and seeking to crush the fledgling Rebel Alliance. That's actually a really good read-up. You get some real terrible read-ups on some of these figures, so sometimes you're just like, why did you bother? You obviously can't be asked. But yeah, there it is. Also, I've just noticed it says Disney on this. I'm not sure if it says it on all of them, but yeah. There's Disney's mark on it. So there you go. That's all for the packaging. I'm going to put this to one side and we're going to look at this guy. So this figure meets all of my expectations as far as a Darth Vader figure would go. A lot of people prefer the Mayfix for the articulation, the double jointed elbows and stuff, but that's a fairly robust character anyway. He's not like, the most agile. So I think the poses you can get this guy in is, fine for what it is. Hasbro couldn't have possibly done a better job for what they were going for. Yeah, you could argue they could have done a removable helmet, not like the old Black Series one. That was awful. They could have just had a separate head and things, but I don't really need that. I'm going to display my Darth Vader figure the way you see him now, albeit in a slightly better pose, I guess. But let's just go through the details of the figure quick. So, first of all, looking at the head sculpt, it's a brilliant head sculpt. They really nailed like the proportions of the helmet and the size of it and things. Something that I feel like companies really struggle to do with Darth Vader. You have the soft goods cape, which is never ending. I'm moving back. It's just, there is a massive cloth there. I'm not normally a fan of soft good capes either, but I mean, this figure just really makes the whole thing work. And he has that under sort of cloth as well that goes over the shoulders. I'm not a massive fan of that design, but I don't really fancy cutting the figure up and getting rid of that. So it's going to stay like this, and it's warmed on me, or I've warmed to it, should I say, over time. So Next we're going to look at the paint. For what it's worth, the silver's done really nice everywhere. The lenses on the eyes have done brown. They could have just left that black, like some companies do. Or, they could have, made them red or something. I know they're red in Rogue One, and in some shots you can see that they're red in the other films. The silver's done really nice. That's something I always forget to mention. So there's a lot of silver paint applications, like on his belt and things, and on this chest piece. That's not quite on his chest. On this armor shoulder thing here. It's just done really nice. Even on the shoulders. Oh, by the way, these shoulder pads are sculpted on the arm, so it doesn't limit articulation, which is, a great thing. And then looking at the lightsaber. Now, I really like this lightsaber. Sometimes, like with Kylo Ren, it was a bit more orangey, but this is a crimson blade. Looks really nice. And the hilt of the lightsaber is the best sculpted I've seen from any figure. It looks exactly like it does in the films. So they really nailed that. And they give you this glossy sort of look as well. So on the boots and on the gloves, you get the glossy sort of look. His helmet isn't too glossy, which you can't see right now, but if I move this up, it's not super glossy, which is a good thing, because I don't feel like it ever was in A New Hope or Rogue One, which I feel like this figure's based off. So yeah, they really nailed it as far as all the details go. The other quick thing I keep forgetting to mention is the sculpted insulated suit is really nicely done. There's a lot of character and style there, and creases and things. Just looks really, really nice. And the overall proportion of all of his limbs and everything, like, it's just, if I move him back, you can't really see much. But, I mean, if you look at pictures of this figure on Google and stuff, you'll see he's just got really nice proportion, like, and you can believe there's a man in here somewhere, which is really cool. So moving on to articulation. Now, the head is fairly limited. You can get it side to side about as much as I'm showing you now. I don't want to try any more because I don't know if it's going to mess with the cloak underneath. But yeah, you move his head side to side. He gets a little bit of movement in other places on his head, but not much. Which, it doesn't bother me too much. I'm not going to be putting Darth Vader in any kind of super dynamic poses anyway, so I don't really have a problem there. As I mentioned earlier, the arms, they come out this far, and they're not hindered by the chest shoulder plate, which is, sculpted on the arm, so you get no problem there. You get no bicep swivel like Marvel Legends, but you do get a swivel at the elbow, and the elbow meets 90 degrees, so that's fine. And on this figure, both hands hinge up and down, and they rotate, which I was expecting this one to have the kind of dice roll motion, but it doesn't. So, I mean, that's fine. I don't really mind either way. I'm pretty easy as far as my figures go. And then, so basically, the legs kick out about that far, and they do come off to the side, but once again, I'm not really worried about that. He's not the most leaping agile character anyway, so you get just enough. He's got the double jointed knees, which again, I don't think you'd use much, but it's there, so it's nice they included it. They didn't have, and they could have very well not done that. No, there is a thigh cut as well if you need that, so you can swivel at the thigh. And then you have the ankles, which go up a little bit, as you can see. They go down quite a lot, and then they have the ankle pivot, so that's pretty cool. And I think that's articulation all done now, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So now we're on to the last bit of my my segment of my videos in my reviews, which is posability, where I just show you a couple of poses. So like, first of all, you've got this pretty good dynamic stance for Darth Vader. You know, like is in battle, as you can see. It's a pretty good pose. Like, just the fact we get Darth Vader to do this is enough articulation for me. So I'm really happy about that. One thing I forgot to mention is he does have the diaphragm peg. So I think it's just a ball peg at the bottom of the diaphragm. And it's hindered a little bit by the design of the figure, but that's, you know, that's fine. I keep saying it, so I'm not going to say it too much more many times. That didn't make sense either, but basically, you know, it's Darth Vader. He's robotic. He's not super dynamic anyway, so I mean, this is one of my favourite poses for the figure. Yeah. Okay, so this is a second pose I chose to show you. I'm really pleased, even with only single jointed elbows, he can get this pose where he's holding the lightsaber with both hands. That's going to come in handy if you have Obi-Wan and you want them to have that sort of battle scene. And I have got him stood up at his tallest with his legs close, but you could widen that stance if you want, no problem. It still looked pretty good. And I just want to quickly say, because I don't know if I've said it already, but I do like the way this cape flows. If you look, I think it falls nicely and sits nicely. So, you know, there's your other option. Here's just a random vanilla pose. His lightsaber drawn still, obviously. So there's another one. Once again, I'm trying to demonstrate here how the cape can fall over the shoulders to give you that nice little effect. So, his pose demonstrating the lightsaber on the belt. Let me just move this down. You can see it there. It doesn't sit on as comfortably as I'd like, but obviously once you get it on, it does sit on there okay. Just it's a bit finicky to get on there, if I'm honest, but still nice. Nicely demonstrated there. It just sits on that hook really, really nicely. And lastly, here's a pose of him force choking a stormtrooper, because why not? He probably force choked a lot of stormtroopers in his time. So obviously I included the stormtrooper in this little bit there because it is the next figure I will review. I just can't get over this. Makes me laugh every time I see it.